All right, back out here in the garage today. I got to work out here and realized I wasn't filming. Sometimes I just put my head down to get stuff done and space filming. I had to move the body drop truck frame over here. I haven't forgot about it. I wanted to get this done and get the go-kart done. That way I have something to do this summer, some projects to actually go have fun with this summer. Obviously the body drop truck's more of a long-term project. Anyone who follows Cleetus knows that he has a event in Indianapolis called the Indy 800, and the Burnout competitions and stuff are there as well. And I always wanted a Burnout truck. I've always watched his events, and we've been to the Indy event twice. Felt like I was missing out. I felt like I needed a cheap LS vehicle to go out there and have fun in, do burnouts in, and one that I can just be rough on and not really care what happens to it. I didn't want something that was, over $2,500 to begin with. And I found this truck, which you're going to see in a second, for a hell of a deal. I mean, it is rusty, but I don't think the guy really knew what it was, or he just needed extra money. I get it. It has some cosmetic flaws in it, but it has a 4.8 and it started up. It ran good. It didn't have a miss or a tick or anything, and it drove. The transmission shifted very well. The brakes are a little rough, but it's no big deal. I don't need the rear brakes anyways. I'm going to delete those. But I bought a Burnout truck. I have an extra fender. I'm going to replace that. I don't care about the bed and anything behind the cab. I want to make the front end look good. I have some different wheels for the front, so that one will just be a burner. Just rattle can that black so it's not all rusty and hideous. Yeah, man, it's like my body drop truck's methed out cousin or something. It's not the cleanest truck, obviously, but I'm just going to thrash on it. I've already got to work. I got the heads pulled off. I'm going to do a cam, and I know you can do the dowel trick on these to hold the lifters up when you do the cam, but I don't know. Something about me just can't put these. I think this truck has 286,000 miles, which some people would put a new cam in there and just use the old lifters, but I just can't do that. And this will also allow me to see the number 1 cylinder piston when it's at top dead center. And I will also be able to put new head gaskets on it, which I already have. I ordered a low buck truck cam from Richard Holdner. I think it's like $289 for a cam and valve springs. And that cam is supposed to be the twin duplicate of the Truck Norris cam. I think it's like 553 lift or something. So nothing real crazy. You can utilize the stock stall converter if you want. I'm not sure about that yet. If I have some time and a little extra money, I might get like a cheap Jegs or Summit converter, like a 3200 stall or something. I'm not sure yet. This 4L60 seems to shift good, but we all know how 4L60s behave under heat and beating. Just depends on once I get it, get the cam in here and get it started up, running, driving, how it's performing. I might pull that transmission back and throw a converter in it. But I only have less than a month. I think it's April 8th today, and the event is May 3rd. So just depends on what I have time for, really. But I'm rambling, and I need to get back to work. I got the heads pulled off. I'm going to pull the lifters out, and I already got the balancer off, pull the front cover off, and get this cam out of here. All right, so I got the old cam out, and in case anyone is wondering, yes, you do have to take the radiator out. I thought I might try it with the radiator in there to see if I could get the cam out the front, but that was a no-go. So I went ahead, took the radiator out. I wanted to get a third row or a 3-row radiator for this deal anyways. I found a decent one on Amazon, and yeah, since the stock radiator is now out, might as well go ahead and throw that in there. Once the new cam gets here, go ahead and throw that in with the lifters. But the cam will not be here until Monday, currently Saturday, so figured I would go ahead and knock out a bunch of the tedious stuff. I've already serviced the front brakes, put new pads in the front. In the rear, I just capped the brakes off at the rubber line above the rear end, so I deleted the rear brakes. And got this fuel tank out of the turbo truck up in there. Got the fuel lines ran. I was just gonna try to put the Warborough 450 in the tank that the truck came with, but I got up in there to drop the tank, and the locating point for the strap, it was all rusted out and the tank was kind of hanging down. So I just took that tank out and threw the gas tank out of the turbo truck in the bed. Saved me some time. And that bad, I hate messing with the rings around the sending units, especially on a truck with this many miles in Indiana. You know, it's going to be rusted. So I got that up in there. Right now I'm working on the front end. We're going to take this fender off. I got another one, just throw a cleaner looking fender on there. If it wasn't like a rust hole right there, I'd probably just leave it, but it's going to drive me nuts. And I have better lights and a better grill for it. So yeah, set up a time lapse here and get this new fender on. All right, so now that I got the fender on, I can go ahead and put this new expansion tank inside the engine bay. It is a True Focus Fab. It has a coolant overflow, a coolant reservoir, and then the back part is an oil catch can. You have to get rid of the air box, which is over here, and then your expansion tank, the stock on the plastic deal would be like right there. And then there is a bracket that goes from your fender to the firewall, like that one over there, that you have to remove, and then that expansion tank will bolt there and there. But I'll get that thrown up in here and see how it looks. All right, I got it all bolted in. I wasn't sure on the front mounting hole location, but it's actually this little indentation right there. You take that bolt out and use that to mount the front of it, but satisfied with it. It looks good in there. Being a burnout truck, I did order a 3rd row radiator that I'm gonna put in here as well. And this expansion tank is obviously a little better than the plastic one. I'm gonna have more capacity in the radiator and a metal expansion tank, so it should hold up to a little more intense heat. I also bought some 1.5 inch aluminum tubing that I'm gonna possibly use for the upper and lower radiator hoses, just to give them some more stability and hopefully not burst. I hope this thing doesn't get hot, but it's gonna be out there for 2 minutes doing a burnout, so it's obviously gonna get a little warmer than it usually would. With this thing being a burnout truck, you kind of do funny stuff with it. Obviously, it's some of the stuff's impractical, and I have a set of 26s out there I'm gonna bolt on the front. Not 100% sure if I'm gonna actually run them or not. I'll get them bolted on there and see how it turns. I thought it'd be kind of funny just to show up with the front on 26s and then the rear on like some stocks and burn them off. I'm gonna get those bolted on here and yeah, see if it turns. All right, I got them on there and I turned it. It doesn't hit the fender in the back, which is what I was really worried about. It does rub the front sway bar, but I can probably just take that off. I'm not gonna need it. It's not even gonna be on the road. It's gonna get trailered there, and I found these for a deal a while back, and they're good mock-up wheels for the body drop truck. Like I said, with these burnout trucks, you just try to make it as outrageous as possible. I think 26s does the trick on that, so I'm gonna leave them on there for now. If it becomes too much of a nuisance, I have some stocks with some Nitto 420s, I think, or NT 555 G2s, and I can throw those on the front. As of right now, I'm pretty much all caught up until my parts come in. I'm gonna leave the front end apart, that way it's easier to mount the radiator and stuff up front. I got all the brakes deleted, or not all of them. I deleted the rear brakes, the front brakes have been serviced. I put new pads in there, I think I'm gonna mention that. But next up will be welding the rear end, because I'm pretty sure this truck has a LSD, a limited slip differential, and I don't want it to be limited. I don't want nothing to limit it. I want it to be all the time. So I'm gonna pop the rear diff cover off, and it's kind of hard to film under there, and it's just a hassle. So if I can, I'll put a time lapse up once I get to welding it. I'm gonna pop the diff cover off, clean out all the shit in there so it's has a decently clean surface to weld to. And then I have some anti-spatter spray that I'm gonna spray all over the gears that I do not want to weld. And then once it's welded, I'll go back and clean it all off again, put the rear diff cover on, and fill back up with gear oil. All right, so I was able to get the rear end welded pretty decently. It's not pretty by any means. I really couldn't find a good angle under there. The truck's not very high up off the ground to position the camera and get a good view, but now that it's welded, I'll go under here and show you. It's not pretty. So there's that side. I thought about welding like a circle around right there to the spider gears, but I still want to be able to get like a flathead or a pry bar in there if I need to, if we ever need to take the axles out. So I'm just gonna leave that open. It's filled with weld all the way back in there on both sides. Go ahead and turn the rear end and show you the other side. This side is really not pretty, but it's gonna hold. I pretty much just melted those things together. I'm sure it's different types of metal, like probably like cast iron and steel, I'm not really sure, but trying to melt those together, it's not going to be a good weld. But I got it welded up. Both axles are spinning all the time now. There's no more limited in any part of it, so hopefully it holds. Sprayed out with brake clean. I might take a little wire brush in there and try to get like all the little slag balls and stuff out of there, try to get it as clean as possible, and then I'll get the cover thrown back on it. All right, so I'm waiting for the RTV to set up on the rear diff cover before I fill it with gear oil. I soaked the fill plug in PV Blaster penetrating oil just to free it up a little bit. Obviously it's pretty corroded and stuff, but in the meantime, got the AFR gauge right in there. Obviously the stuff has been deleted under the hood, so this panel was free. I was just gonna try to make one right here, but it was kind of recessed in there, and I didn't really like how it looked, so I just utilized the stock blower control unit. And I got AFR, got my two-step arming switch here, and then the micro switch for the two-step. Broke it right there a little bit, so I just put some glue on it and zip tied it together, letting that cure up. I'm still going to put some switches in here for the nitrous and the nitrous purge. Yeah, it doesn't look great right now, but once it's up in there, looks like it's factory, son. I also went ahead and pulled the old stock valve springs out of the heads. Got all those removed, along with the rockers. They're over here soaking, and degreaser. Got a trunnion kit for the rockers. Think I mentioned that. And my cam came in today, so I can go ahead and throw that in. I got the low buck truck cam from Richard Holden Performance. The specs are right there. It was $259 for a cam and BTR 560 Beehive valve spring set. Not bad. And they say this is a copy of the Truck Norris cam. I thought this was kind of funny. He put Buck Morris. I don't know. I'm not sure. I thought that was funny that that was scribed into the camshaft. But yeah, that's the next step. Get the cam in there and yeah, keep chugging along. All right, so I got the cam in, the retaining plate the timing gear, timing chain, front cover, and the lifters are in and torqued. I'm going to clean off the deck surface a little bit, get the dowels put back in it, and I got a fresh set of head gaskets to put on it. All right, I got the new head gaskets on. The deck surface is all cleaned up. I cleaned the top of the pistons the best that I could with some carb cleaner. One trick that I like to do before you go bolting those heads down, because when you pull them off, obviously coolant leaks out of there and it gets down into the hole where the head bolts go. I take an old head bolt and I grind a groove in it with a cutoff wheel. And before I run this down in there, I go with an air hose and I'll blow out those bolt hole journals to get all the excess coolant and debris out of that hole. And then I'll run this bolt down there and it cleans the threads up. Any dirt that might be down in there also gets stuck in that groove, and when you thread it out, you can just blow that groove out. I've learned that this is a good trick to do before or anything. Anytime you pull the heads off with coolant in the engine, really, you know, it's hard to keep coolant out of those bolt holes. Yeah, I will get the new valve springs on the heads and get the heads thrown on the engine, torque them down. Okay, I got the heads all torqued down, and you should never reuse your stock head bolts, but if you do, make sure you clean the threads and apply medium strength thread locker on the small bolts that go on the top. And I didn't even do the angle deal. I just torqued them all on the big bolts. I torqued them all to 22 foot-pounds and then went back and torqued them all to 72 foot-pounds as a final torque. If it works for Matt Happel and he made, well, I don't know, 1100 horsepower or whatever, it'll work for my naturally aspirated Burnout engine. So that's what I did. There's a sequence that I will, right there, if you want to screenshot that. Torque the big bolts first, and then you go back and you torque the smaller ones on top to 22 foot-pounds, and that's it. I got the push rods in. All the push rods are in the heads, down on the lifters. So next up will be the rockers. And I got the CHE trunnion upgrade. Comes with these brass ends and some snap rings here. From what I understand, this is one of the best trunnion upgrades that money can buy. You need a 7/8 socket, 9/16 socket, and a vise or a press. If I had a press, I would use one, but I do not. It's on my list. And you push the stock trunnions out of the rockers. There's like a limiting flat spot in them that only lets them pivot so much, and with a higher lift cam, they might need to pivot more. And they also, the main reason to change them out is they have needle bearings in them, and if it breaks, all those needle bearings go into your engine. That's what happened on my turbo truck. Even though I had a trunnion upgrade kit in it, some of the trunnion upgrade kits still have those needle bearings in it. I should have done a little more research when doing that, because that inevitably was the demise of that engine. So I did some reading, and from my understanding, this is the best trunnion upgrade that you can get. So I'll get to breaking all the old rockers apart and get these new trunnions installed in the rockers. All right, so I finally got all the stock internals out of the rockers. These needle bearings right here are what go into your engine when they fly apart at a high RPM. So that's why people do this upgrade. I only dropped 2 of them. I've never wanted a press so bad in my life. I feel like a press is one of them things that sits in the corner and collects dust until a day like this when you absolutely need it, because this vise is not the route to take, but I got through it. So I got the rockers soaking in some mineral spirits. I will clean them off a little bit with this brush as I go and install the new trunnion kit. It comes with a nice list of instructions in the box. I'll quit blabbing and get to it. All right, I got all 16 of those installed. It is very tedious and time consuming, but it'll be worth it in the long run. But they do give you 2 extra snap rings, so if you lose one or mess one up like I did, you got a spare. So I'm going to get the rocker stands cleaned up, put the rockers on them, and get the rockers torqued down in the engine.
Yo, I would love to help it. Work blows in the front at that time. Strip a phone. Nope.
All right, so I got the rockers all torqued down. I got the valve covers on, the intakes torqued down. I just put my head down and kept working. Forgot to pick up the camera, honestly, but I figured I would give a little update. It's coming right along. I got the exhaust on there. I wanted to get those on there before I put the radiator and stuff in there and the water pump. That way I know what I need clearance for on like the coolant hoses and stuff. It's pretty tight over here, but it does fit. With the stock power steering bracket, I thought I might have to get a ICT billet stock location power steering alternator bracket, but I do not. This one will work. I had to extend the alternator wire. It goes up to here. Also had to cut like the rubber bushing off the steering shaft just to give it room to sit flush against the head. I don't have these bolted down yet. I'm gonna pull them back off. I just got them bolted on there for clearance purposes and mock-up. Obviously, they're not gonna go forward, they're gonna go up. When I pull them back off, I marked back there. I'm gonna put a decent little dent in that primary just to give us some more clearance on the steering shaft. And I did order some header wrap. They're The passenger side isn't bad. I don't think it would really melt anything, but I'm gonna go ahead and fully wrap both headers. That way everything is as guarded and protected from the heat as possible. Keep chugging right along. I'm gonna put the radiator in there now, the water pump, start running all of the coolant hoses and everything, then move on to mocking up the exhaust. Alright, so I've been out here busting my ass the past couple of days. Pretty much got this thing all back together. Got the headers wrapped. Got the tractor flaps on there. Everything should be good to go. Ran into an issue yesterday where I had the injectors out of the turbo truck that I put in here, the Snake Eater 850s, and two of them stuck open. And it fired once, died because the tune's off. I'm gonna have to get it tuned, obviously. Two of the O2 sensors aren't plugged in. I'm only using the primaries and different injectors. It wasn't gonna run right, but anyways, it died. And then I went to restart it and it was locked up. It wouldn't turn over. And I just stopped, gathered my thoughts, and I said, I wonder if some of those injectors are leaking, because I didn't do a leakage test, which I should have done. I can't believe I didn't. And sure enough, it filled two of the cylinders full of fuel. I took the spark plugs out and it was just like a garden hose. Just gas ran out of those cylinders. So I had to tear it all back apart, take the Snake Eater injectors out. I now have 8 6-liter injectors in here that I flow checked, leakage tested. Yeah, they should all be good. So I'm gonna prime the fuel system again, make sure that there's no leaks on the fuel rails or anything, and hopefully this thing fires off. It's not gonna run great. Like I said, it needs to be tuned still, but see if she'll fire. Just smoking because of the header wrap. Probably get it tuned and then go from there. But she runs, baby. Got good oil pressure, about 60. Turn the fan on, open these windows. Hell yeah. My heart damn near sank yesterday with this thing locked up. All that work, man, and if I was to bend a rod or break a ring, it's all for nothing, really. I don't know if I could get another 4/8 in time to fix it or have enough time to tear it out, get another one in it. But I took my time, thought it through, and figured out the problem before I just tried to start it again and damage some stuff. All right, so I had my dad come out to my house and throw a tune in the truck. And he's got it idling pretty good. We took it down the road a few times.
Key on.
That's maybe why, huh? There they are. Was still too rich to really lay into it. He's still working on the tune a little bit. I got it out here at his house now, out in the shop. He's gonna mess with it. So we got 5 days that he can mess with it, put better tune in it and try to lean it out a little bit before we go do a burnout. I'm gonna try to put a burnout clip in this video before I end it off, but if not, it's pretty much wrapped up, man. I have to tap the intake tube for the nitrous fitting, run off the nitrous solenoid into the intake tube, and I'm throwing some tint on the windows just for shits and giggles. I did order a drive shaft for it, a steel drive shaft. This one has an aluminum 4-inch drive shaft in its stock, and it's kind of worrying me that it might break or something out there doing a burnout, so I ordered a steel one. If it comes in time, I will throw that in there. But yeah, burnout truck is running, driving, shifting, stopping. Yeah, all that's left now is to do a burnout and get it to Indy to Cleetus and cars. Also want to give a shout out to my dad for getting a good tune in there and making the truck run somewhat decent. It's able to do a burnout now, and it's running much better than it was, obviously, with just the base tune in it. So a huge shout out to him for helping me get a tune in it and tie up some loose ends out in his shop. The truck's been over there all week, so I can't thank him enough. And nothing left now but to do it. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends.